Good morning. It is so great to be here with you this morning, looking at all these shining, happy faces here in our sanctuary at Unity Center of Pittsburgh, and also sending out our loving welcome to those of you who are watching at home, wherever you may be, that you will feel and absorb the energy and the inspiration that we are bringing forth this morning. I would like to begin with a welcoming explanation, if that is the right word, or a description of what and who we are at Unity Center of Pittsburgh. We are an open and inclusive, loving community, and this community affirms the universal truth that we are all divine expressions of one loving God. So I welcome you in that knowing, and I welcome all of our visitors today. We have lots of new faces, old faces. Yesterday we had a tremendous workshop here with Reverend Shad, Groverland, who traveled all the way from Kansas City, and he is the president and CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries. So it's very exciting, and we have him here this morning again to provide our Sunday message. He and his wife, Erin, welcome. And we also have a wonderful musician this morning who is here from Newbury, Massachusetts. Yeah. Her name is Meg Rain, and she is the musical director at Unity on the River in Newbury, Massachusetts. So we welcome Meg Rain. We're so grateful to be here this morning. How about if we start, can you, Marco, switch to the vision and missions slide for us? Yeah. We always like to share this as we open our service this morning. So let's join in and read together our vision. We envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. Just imagine that in your mind. Every heart expanded and knowing the truth of its divine nature. And here at Unity Center of Pittsburgh, our mission is that we are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. Love the practice part, don't you? So my name is Maryann Hackworth, and I will be your service leader this morning. And again, I'd like to introduce to you Meg Rain. She's going to open up with some music. Join in, please. Stand if you would like.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine everywhere I go. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine of ours, this little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine, oh, this little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine, this little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now we go to yours. This little light of yours, you're gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of yours, you're gonna let it shine. This little light of yours, you're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's go back to mine one more time. Oh, this little light of mine. Pick it up. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Yes.
Light. Let's light the ficus trees and let us feel and affirm the light in our hearts and minds is growing and expanding as we open up in prayer. And just take that nice centering breath and feel the presence of God within you. Feel it growing and expanding. Open up your heart and mind to receive. With gratitude, we say, thank you, God. Thank you, divine creator, for this life that we have been given, for the opportunity to serve and to share it, to be the joy, to be the strength and the power and the wisdom. We are so grateful for this life that we have, and we are willing to open and expand our light here and now. And so it is. Amen. So I'd like to begin, as we always do each Sunday, with a lighting of our Christ candle. And we call it the Christ candle because it is a reminder to all of us that the Christ mind, the divine mind that existed within Jesus, that he came to teach and to share with all of us, lives within our mind. It is planted as a seed in our consciousness, and we can grow this in our oneness with it. Reminding us, as Jesus said, you are the light of the world. So how about if we share together the principles of unity which inspire and guide our thoughts and our words and our actions? Let's read them together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them, and so we do. And back to you, Meg, for a song.
Thank you. It's a song I wrote, just encompasses the unity principles for me. I am the one that I am waiting for. So if you, as you are able or feel called, sing with me and answer the I am presence. Not what I've done, I am. Not what I've become, I am. Not anything to show, I am. Not anything I have to know. I am awake. Not my house or my car, I am not my story or my scars. I am nothing to be done. I am no wars to be fought or won. I am awake. Join me in singing that today. More than I know, I am much more than I show. I am the universe and stars. I am forever and beyond the beyond. I am awake. Keep singing. Let's see. Keep singing that. I am awake. You sing that, and I'll sing something over you. I am awake. Here we go. A new earth, a new way, a new hope is born as me today. A new earth, a new way, a new hope is born as me today. I am awake. Oh, I am awake. Now bring it into our hearts. Put our hands on our hearts. I am awake. One more time. I am awake. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you.
Now I'd like to share with you today's daily word for Sunday, April 23rd, which is pray for others. Let me begin by reading the affirmation. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. I am honored by the trust of those who ask me to pray with them. Whatever I am asked to pray about, my responsibility is always the same: to recognize all qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. Let me say that again. All qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. I remain steadfast, affirming this truth. If I have been asked to pray for healing, I release all thoughts of illness. I affirm divine life is active in every cell. I see harmony and perfect function restored. If I am praying for abundance, I entertain no thought of lack. I affirm divine wisdom, love, and understanding guiding the one with whom I pray to make wise, prospering choices. As I affirm truth for all who have asked for prayer, my awareness of God's activity in my life increases also. And from John 1:2, I read, Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. So let's look at this affirmation we have on our screen this morning and allow it to penetrate deeply into your consciousness as we read it together 3 times. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. And we're moving now into our blessing for children. So I'd like to ask you to bring into your mind's eye all the children perhaps that are in your family, in your extended families and community. Let us uplift children right now in our consciousness. Let us send out love and inspiration to all children throughout this human family, throughout the world. And in our mind's eye, as we look into the eyes of children, let us see their joy and their exuberance for life growing. Let us affirm that wisdom and inner knowing is blossoming in their hearts so that they feel the presence and remain in that presence throughout their growth, throughout the years as they unfold. May they know the truth of who they are. Children, you are divine expressions of one loving Creator. We love you, we affirm you, we send our love out into this world, into all children. Amen, and so it is. And as we move now into prayerful intentions, I would ask that anyone or any circumstance that is in your mind now that is troubling in any way, that you bring that forth to heal, to be uplifted. For when more than one, two or more, right, are gathered together, the energy of healing expands, and we share this healing with one another. So just sit for a moment and bring into your consciousness anything, any circumstance, anyone in need of healing. And now let us bring forth the creative power, the one source, the divine, into these circumstances and situations. And let us allow the energy of the divine to guide and to heal, to restore health, wholeness. And we affirm the divine mind of God is bringing forth wisdom and insight into your mind, into our minds collectively. Let us affirm that all people of the world are moved towards this one mind and light within them, that we may feel it and know it as our truth. And with gratitude now in our hearts, we thank the one creative power in this universe. We thank God, the Creator, for perfect resolution and outcome. And so it is. Maryann, Meg, would you move into opening up and sweet surrender?
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening.
A deep, abiding trust. Feel that move into you and surrender to it. Amen. Thank you, Meg. Meg is now going to share with us a special selection, The Great Turning. I turn it over to you, Meg.
And happy Earth weekend, Earth Day, Mama Earth. Yes, happy Earth Day. And we just, feel our love for the earth. I wrote this song for Joanna Macy, who particularly works with communities to bring sustainable living opportunities in all ways, brings communities together. So this is her, the name of what she does is called The Great Turning, turning to sustainability. And Shambhala is the place in our hearts and minds where nirvana lives. So I'll be asking you to sing that with me. Shambhala, sing that with me. Shambhala, Shambhala. And if you want to drum a little, Shambhala. Turn to your families and turn to your friends. Turn to your lovers and kiss them, and then turn to the sun and turn to the land. Turn, turn, turn again in the great turning, the great turning. Turn to the earth and turn to the sky. Turn to our gardens and plant our corn high. Turn to the sun and turn to the land. Turn, turn, turn again in the great turning. Sing that. The great turning. Shambhala. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala. Turn to your heart and turn to your mind. Turn to compassion within sight and find. Turn to community to reach out to care. Turn, turn, turn and share in the great turning. Join me, the great turning. The great turning. Shambhala. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala. One more time. Shambhala, 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 Shambhala.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Meg. Beautiful, beautiful song composed by Meg Rain. I loved it. I forgot to mention at the outset, but Meg does have some CDs and download cards available for anyone who is interested in her music. Thank you for coming all the way from Massachusetts to be with us here today. And we also have, it's incredible, what a Sunday. We have Meg from Massachusetts, we have Reverend Shad Groverland here from Kansas City, and he is going to provide our message today, and I would like to introduce him properly by telling you his background. Reverend Shad Groverland was born and raised in Unity, learning Unity principles from his parents, Reverend Jack and Norma Groverland. His passion for music production was ignited while serving in his parents' church, which led him to a 25-year career in sound production and management in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. He was then called into ministry and attended the Unity Urban Ministerial School, receiving his ordination in 2016. He served at Unity of Las Vegas for 5 years before returning home to Unity of Boulder in Colorado, where he co-ministered with his sister, Cintisha, and his father, Jack. He was hired at Unity Worldwide Ministries as president and CEO in October of 2020. Reverend Shad's Unity experience is vast and long-term. He has served as youth director, board of trustee, youth camp counselor, youth and family team leader and director, Next Generation Unity Minister Advisor. In 2018, he was appointed to the UWM Board of Trustees and served as secretary of the board in 2019 and 2020. During his tenure on the board, Shad served on multiple teams focused on shaping the future of Unity. The Unity movement has continued this legacy of revitalization into his current position as president and CEO. His sole purpose in this role is to support and equip Unity ministries, such as ours, and leaders to thrive and to grow. Reverend Shad Groverland.
Okay, that's a lot. I'm exhausted just listening to it. How are we all doing today? Good, all right. That's a pretty good response. Normally I get sort of a ho-hum, we're all right type of thing. All right, well, I am the president and CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and if you did not know, we have about 650 ministries around the world in the Unity movement. So that includes all multiple continents around the world. About 550 of those are here in the United States themselves. So we have a lot of things we're doing at the home office to try to support all of that. A lot of exciting things happening, and so I work with a staff of about 30 employees with me that help do all this work, and so it's pretty rewarding. It's very difficult, it's very challenging, but it's actually fun, believe it or not. But that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about some big questions, and one of those questions is, what do you need to be happy? Now, initially when we think of a question like that, probably what first comes to mind is physical things. I need more money. I need a better car. I need a bigger house. I need a better relationship. I need a better job. I need to advance in this, that, and the other thing. And that's somewhat how our society's been built, is on happiness being attached to things. Would you agree with that? Not that we in Unity necessarily align with that. But that's pretty much how our society has been built. And so we look at what is happiness? What do you need to be happy? It's fascinating that we can live decades and decades and decades in life and really not have ever stopped to answer that question. We just kind of keep moving forward because there's this prescribed path that's been handed to us by society. Primarily a path of consumerism. And we think about when we're in school, I'll think about when I was in school and I had a high school guidance counselor and they're telling me the classes I was going to take in preparation for college. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to college. Then I had a college guidance counselor who told me the classes to take to prepare me for my career. So I guess I now am going into a career. Now, what's interesting is when I think about those two entities, those two individuals, neither one of them mentioned joy. Right? There was this presumption that they had a plan for me, and that this plan, at some point, would bring joy into my life. But neither one of them mentioned anything about joy. They didn't even hint at joy. They just said, here's what you do next, and here's what you do next, and here's what you do next. And I guess the assumption was, okay, once I've completed all that, I'll find joy. I will enjoy my life. But they didn't infer that. In fact, it's fascinating that we take the advice and guidance from individuals that most likely don't have joy in their lives. Would you agree with that? And then so we finally get a career. And what do we do when we get a career? We're supposed to climb that ladder. Right? There's a career path. We're supposed to climb that ladder. It might even include some more higher learning to climb that ladder. But what's at the end of that ladder? No one ever says joy is at the end of that ladder. You're just supposed to keep climbing this ladder. And presumably you sit there thinking, well, I'm supposed to climb this ladder because it's going to bring joy, right? Like your subconscious goes, oh, they must be guiding us on a path to joy. But no one ever actually says that, right? They're not lying to you. They just say, just keep climbing. But you're assuming that at some point fulfillment and happiness and joy come in this path, because why else are they handing this to me? But again, there's no one at your job that really seems all that joyful. But you're following their guidance on how to advance into this company and move up the line. And so I have struggled with this my entire life, going through I followed the prescribed path. I got my degree. I went into the world. I worked for companies. And I advanced. And what I found is the more I advanced, the less joy I had. Has anyone else ever noticed that? And I'd get to a place where I was doing pretty well in life, but I wasn't happy. And I'd think back and go, when was I most joyful? And it was when my life was most simple. But life doesn't like things to be simple. They want you to complicate your life. They want you to be buried in debt, stressed out of your mind, popping medication, and fundamentally killing yourself, because that's the prescribed path that's been handed to us in this culture. And we just bought it. And we all know, we're very intelligent human beings. We all know that this was designed by businesses for the sake of businesses, to get you into a job that benefits the business at the expense of your own consciousness. I would guarantee everyone in here knows that. But practically none of us have done anything about it, even in our own lives. And the fascinating thing I discovered when I really pondered these things is that it's not the businesses that actually hold us accountable to this insane path we're on, it's us. We actually shame each other into staying in alignment with a path of suffering. I've seen it time and time again. As soon as someone pays off their car and starts to have some free money to play with in their life, someone in their life starts pressuring them, it's time to get a new car. It's time to get yourself back in debt. You've all seen it, right? You have seen it. Someone who's got a simple apartment they can afford, someone in their life is pressuring them to go buy a house they can't afford. I actually was talking to a friend of mine, and she said growing up, they taught her, if you can afford the payments of your house, you haven't bought enough house. That's what people were saying. And it was like an investment strategy. You should always be buying bigger than you can really afford, because then it'll gain in interest over time, and it'll be worth more. And so that really, fundamentally, you should just never be stress-free in life. You should just be constantly terrified of your next payment. Because then you got to work longer and harder for the company, right? And it's fascinating. I was growing up in Boulder, Colorado. That's where I grew up. It's one of the skiing capitals of the world. Everyone out there is a skier. And those individuals that worked only enough to ski as much as they possibly could, those who had broken out of the system and said, I'm just going to flip burgers enough to buy a ski pass so I can ski all season, were called ski bums. Bums. Like, how dare you enjoy your life? We're going to shame you. You are going to be pushed to the outskirts of society, you bum, because you've chosen to enjoy your life. And we don't like that. We don't like when we see someone enjoying their life. We want to corral them back into this path of suffering that the rest of us are on. Because they make us feel bad at our 9 to 5. They make us feel bad when we're stuck working overtime and they're out on the mountain skiing. So we don't like that. So we want to shame them. We want to use social pressure to corral them back into doing what we're doing. We want to convince them they need to get an expensive house. They need to get a car. They need to do all the things we've done to make our lives miserable. So a pretty smart individual, I don't know if you're familiar with this person, Albert Einstein. He said, a calm and humble life will bring more happiness than the pursuit of success and the constant restlessness that comes with it. You would think when the smartest person on the planet makes a statement like that, we would all go, oh, let's do some things differently. Albert seems to have a good idea here. Let's change course. But no, what we do is we make a meme out of it, we put it on social media and go, isn't that neat? And we go on doing exactly what we've always done before. The smartest person on the planet says, you guys, you're completely missing the point. Scale down, simplify, and you'll find joy. And we go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. My society's told me that I'm actually supposed to scale up and be miserable. And that sounds like a better plan than Einstein's got for me. So we ignore it. And we move on, and we go back to doing what we always did, working to suffer. Doesn't that seem a little bit crazy to the rest of you? And I've been at points in my life where I said, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to go back to simplifying. I don't need to have a crazy job. I don't need to be changing the world. I can just have a mundane job and enjoy my life. And next thing you know, 3 to 5 years later, I've done it again. I've gotten the car. I've gotten into another house I can't afford, and I've added more stress, and now I have to work more hours once again. And I go, oh, you got me. You got me again. This happened 3 different times in my life where I go, you got me again, you little snake. Because the societal pressure to stay in this system is so hard to break through. Your family's pressuring you, your work's pressuring you, your job is pressuring you, your friends are pressuring you, and it may not even be conscious. It's a subconscious pressure to make sure we all stay in the system. And anyone tries to break out gets shoved back in. Well, there's another great spiritual master, Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid movie series. He said, "Focus, Daniel's son." See, because you realize if you don't have a focus in your life, someone else is happy to give you one that benefits them. You see what I'm saying? If you don't know what your focus is in life, someone else will come in and give you one that benefits them. And that's what I found out was happening in my life. Without focus, someone else was giving me a focus. And next thing you knew, I was benefiting their pocketbook at the expense of my own sanity, health, and free time. It is so important to realize the value of focus in your life. What do I truly care about? What truly matters to me? What am I actually trying to accomplish here in this lifetime? If I don't know, then anyone can come along and say, go do this, go do that, go do this. And I go, okay. Because I don't know why I should or shouldn't, because I have no focus, I have no reason for being, I have no direction I'm heading in, so any direction could or could not be viable for me. So what is our focus? What is our purpose? What do we care about? What are we going after? What are we doing here? Certainly, we all know it's not just to work and then die. I think we've all figured that out. Mother Teresa, another pretty powerful individual, said, live simply. Again, she said that, and everyone else said she doesn't know what she's talking about, and we went back around about living complicated. We default to living complicated, living stressed. Even though we have some of these great spiritual masters and minds telling us, just chill out, folks. Live simply, and then you will have joy. But we always put joy as this destination out there. Once I achieve this, once I get this, once I do that, once I conquer this, I will have joy. It's funny, you look at mountain climbers, always trying to climb a higher mountain. And yet there's always another mountain to climb. And it's like, at what point do you go, all right, I've climbed enough mountains. I think I'm happy now. I'll just climb small mountains now and see how small a mountain I can climb. It's always something out there that we're putting out there that if I achieve that, I think I'll be happy. And what's really fascinating is in this system, the people that we see at the end of the prescribed path that we've been told brings happiness, our superstars, our movie stars, our millionaires and billionaires, our sports stars, are what? Depressed, pill-popping individuals that are often suicidal, if not taking their own lives. And we don't look at that and go, oh yeah, I don't want to be on that path anymore. We go, oh, that looks great. That's what I want. I'm in. They've got it. This facade of a life that they have for a few moments in front of the camera, and then they're depressed all the rest of those hours. That sounds amazing. How do I get that? And our youth, unfortunately, have been raised with that as the ultimate goal, the 15 minutes of fame. There was a study that came out recently that they did a poll of young people, and I believe it was in high school. And they said, when you grow up, would you rather work for a Fortune 500 company or be an assistant to a star? And by and large, they all chose the assistant to a star. Because they'd rather be close to fame than anything else that may or may not matter in life. I don't want to work for a Fortune 500 company either, but so those are kind of weighted options. So when we talk about focus, we talk about having an actual direction we're going in, we have an actual purpose in life. Does the way I live align with my beliefs and my priorities? I believe in God, but does my life actually reflect that? I believe in love. I believe that we are all actually brothers and sisters, but does my life actually reflect that? I don't believe in the system that society has handed to us, but does my life actually reflect that? If someone just comes in and out of my life, would they walk away saying, you know what? That person's got a focus. That person actually lives what they believe, and they have not bought into this ridiculous system. Would they see that if they stepped into my life for a day or a week? Does the way I live actually align with my beliefs? Well, I think that's important because and I'll speak for myself, I am so tired of hypocrisy in the world today. Is anybody else with me? Are you just sick and tired of the hypocrisy in the world today? In the systems and the people that we are surrounded ourselves with in the world and government and leadership and in our personal lives, I'm just tired of hypocrisy, and I don't want to be adding to it. I don't want to be a Unity person that's going out there living a life, and I say, I go to Unity, but if you looked at my life, you really wouldn't see much unity in it. Then I'm a hypocrite. And we're all hypocrites to some degree. I'm still a hypocrite because I'm still working on my spiritual stuff, and I talk about it all the time. So let's own it. Is everyone happy? Let's be hypocrites. Just own it. Say, I'm a hypocrite. Come on. I'm a hypocrite. First step is to own your stuff. I am a hypocrite. You can't work on your stuff if you don't know what it is. We are hypocrites. But we don't want any more hypocrisy in the world, which means we've got to do something about our own hypocritical lives that we're living. If someone steps in my life, will they see that my life actually reflects my priorities? If they don't, I'm being a hypocrite. Would you agree? And does the world need more hypocrites? No, I don't believe it does. So I want to give you something, a great little passage from the book of Mark. When we talk about what do we authentically believe in. If you authentically believe in something, your life will reflect it. And most of us authentically believe in money, and our life reflects that. Most of us authentically believe in social pressure, and our life reflects that. A lot of us say we believe in God, but we don't authentically believe in God because our life does not reflect a belief in God. Have you ever known someone that says, I'm a devout Buddhist, I'm a devout Christian, I'm a that, and then you know them personally, you go, no, you're not. Come on, we've all known that person, right? All right, now who is that person? Come on, hands high. See, that's a little bit harder. Well, here we have this story in the book of Mark. This father has a son who they say is possessed, which we know today he probably was a paralytic. He might have had a mental illness, but at the time they would call it a possession. So he brings his child to the disciples to be healed, and the disciples cannot heal this child. They can't cast out the demon that was in this child, as they were calling it. So they move it up the ladder. They bring him to Jesus to see if Jesus can do it. And there are times in my life I've thought about the Bible and I go, is it really real? Did someone just make this up afterwards? But then you come upon a passage that is so darn real that you can't help but feel that happened. And this is one of those passages that just drops me to the floor because I feel this father's suffering. I've had my daughter be sick, thankfully not as sick as a child in the story, but I've had her be sick, and it's like, I will do anything to heal this child. You have to take my life right now? Fine, just get this child well. I can't handle watching her suffer. So I feel that. So he's now come to Jesus with his child. And Jesus said to him, if you are able, all things can be done for the one who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out, I believe, help my unbelief. The father comes to Jesus hoping Jesus has some magical power to heal his child. And unfortunately, Jesus says, I don't do this. You do this. It is your belief that is holding your child in illness. Whoa, that's a tough one to handle. And there are parents that hold their children in illness with the way they believe and perceive the world to be. And as a parent, we know that our children are more the product of our thinking than what we tell them or try to teach them. Have you noticed that? The way you live affects them far more than the way you tell them to live. So in this moment, the father all of a sudden has an oh my gosh realization. I believe we can heal this child, but Jesus, I don't believe. Please help my unbelief. I believe in God, but I don't believe in God. I kind of believe in God. I believe in the power of mind action, but I don't really believe in the power of mind action. Jesus, please, my child is sick. Help my unbelief. Jesus is not some magical being that just goes, bling, child is healed. He's like, look, you got to work on your stuff. That's the hard part of this spiritual path. That's one of the difficult parts we have in unity. You don't just get to say, Jesus, take it away. In unity, we have to say, I got to work on my stuff. And when I go out in the world, I have to exemplify a person that's working on their stuff, not just hoping some other entity is going to take care of it for me. But it's also very empowering to find out that I don't have to wait for some entity to take care of it for me. I can do this myself. So if I actually believe in God, and I'm speaking for myself now, I can't speak for anybody in the room. If I actually believe in God, which I do, I'm claiming for myself, I actually believe in God, then God must become a priority in my life. I don't want to be a hypocrite. And I actually believe in God, then God has got to become a priority in my life, so much so that if anyone saw my life, they'd say, yeah, that dude believes in God. What then in my life needs to shift to align with that belief and priority? I have to take my life to task and analyze the way I'm living and saying, there's some things I do that clearly are not in alignment with my belief in God. If I truly believe in God, I have got to shift my life. I've got to distance myself from the things that have been taking me away from God, the people that have been taking me away from God, the books and the media and the social media and the things that have been taking me away from God, and I've got to spend more time with God. Wouldn't that make sense? If I truly believed in God, I'd be doing that. First thing I'd absolutely have to do is to have a dedicated spiritual daily practice. They say that it takes 10,000 hours to master a musical instrument. How many hours do you think it takes to master your consciousness? Probably more. Probably more. A great musician's practicing hours a day. And we're just living life, doing zero practice on it. And we expect all of a sudden to have a great life. Whereas musicians are like, no, I got to crank on this thing hours a day to get better at it. Well, practicing life probably also takes hours a day. And that's why we're so easily manipulated, because we're not practicing anything else. So I'd have to dedicate myself to a daily spiritual practice. I'd have to dedicate myself to my spiritual community. We find people in unity churches, every church, every denomination, every faith, less and less are dedicated to that. They come one Sunday a month. They come every once in a while to this, that, the other thing. This world is too difficult to conquer without community helping you. If you're not surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who are on the same path with you and lifting you up instead of trying to tear you down every day, it is impossible to accomplish this. I am telling you, you do not have enough willpower to fight every single human being in your life. You've got to be surrounded with people that believe like you believe. So when you're not feeling well, you say, I'm going to check my consciousness. What is going on? And they don't put you in a straitjacket and throw you in jail. They go, we're with you. We will pray with you. We recognize that consciousness does have power in your life. But you say that at work and you look like you've lost your mind. You've got to be dedicated to a group of people that believe like you do to help you on this path, because you don't have the energy to fight all day long. Dedication to living unity principles. If I'm going to be a person, I want to be exemplifying these principles. I don't want to have to go out and tell people how great unity is. I want to be so great they go, what are you doing with yourself that you look like you're actually winning this game? You go, I go to unity. This stuff works. I don't have to tell you about it. The way I live my life, you go, what special sauce do you have that I don't? What are the herbs and spices? Well, the fundamental unity principle says we are all one family as children of God, individualized, unique expressions of the one. Do I really believe that to be true? Do I authentically believe that to be true? Because if I authentically believe that to be true, I'd be treating people a lot differently than I do today. I'd be talking about politicians a lot differently than I do today. I'd be doing a lot less bashing of my other brothers and sisters, no matter how off course they might be, than I am right now. I could not help but say, that is my brother, that is my sister. They are cut from the same cloth. We are struggling with the same difficult life, and I'm no further ahead in line than they are. If I authentically believe this statement to be true, how will this shift my life knowing I believe it and it is a priority to me? Well, we're talking about my own journey here. I've decided I will not consciously or subconsciously, directly or indirectly suppress or harm members of my God family. I can't. If I really believe that to be true, I cannot do that. And I cannot allow others to do that. We are not all one until we are all treated equitably. Unity has been called out for this we're all one concept. We are not all one. We are currently in a physical experience where we are not all one. We are a part of a system that intentionally oppresses groups of our God family. Until we fix that system, we are not all one. I am a white, cisgender, heterosexual, middle-class male. This system was built by people like me to favor people like me and to oppress people unlike me. If I'm not actively trying to take down that system, do something about it, I am a part of the system. I am perpetuating the system. I'm allowing members of my God family to be suppressed and harmed. Until we are treated equitably, we are not all one. But in unity we say we're all one, and we bypass the difficulty of the fact that society is not built like we are all one. So this includes all suppressed groups: Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQ+, women, people of varying abilities, and animals. Here we are on Earth Day. The one time a year in unity we often talk about animals matter as well. Animals are also our brothers and sisters, and the trees and the water and the air is also our brothers and sisters. We've recognized that the Bible threw some people off course thinking, oh, no, we're the only ones that matter. That's not how the Bible is written. We are all brothers and sisters when you actually read Genesis. We as humans are supposed to have dominion, which means to be caretakers of the rest of our family, not destroyers of the rest of our family. So I came to the conclusion that I will no longer be party to the suppression, exploitation, or consuming of members of my God family. Everyone makes their own choice in life. Everyone has their own discussion with God. After my discussion with God, this is what God has held me accountable to. I could no longer do it because I felt their suffering because this is my family. I can't do it to my direct descendants of my sisters and my brothers and my direct family. Why am I allowing it in my God family? What do you really need to be happy? What do you really need to be happy? Well, Mother Teresa's quote is actually a little bit longer. It's, live simply so that others may simply live. Look at her perspective of the world. She's working in third world countries that do not have enough food to feed their children, to put food in their mouths, to put a roof over their head, and she's looking up at these first world nations. She's like, for crying out loud, people, the gluttony already. Can you share a little? Right? Can you imagine her perspective day to day working with people that cannot get food in their mouths? And she goes, can you just scale down a bit so there's enough resources for the entire planet? Do you really have to have all this garbage in your life? And we ignored her. I mean, she said this message over and over and over again on every platform she could possibly get. And we just went, that is so sweet. She's an amazing person. I'm so glad she's out there doing this and I'm not. I've got air conditioning, she doesn't. What do we really need to be happy? Well, Erin and my wife and I have been on this journey since we've met. And we authentically don't want to be hypocrites, and we authentically keep asking ourselves, what do we really need to be happy? And we were a 5-bedroom home in Las Vegas, because that's what you do in Las Vegas. And we sat there, we had a bunch of empty rooms, most of them just filled with garbage. We said, what are we doing with all this stuff? So we downsized to a 2-bedroom apartment. Got it all worked out, still my daughter living with us, and we still thought, we don't really need all this space. So we downsized again, and now we live in a 180 square foot tiny home. Because if you ask yourself enough times, what do you really need to be happy? You wind up finding you need less and less and less. And the amazing thing is, the less junk and clutter you have in your life, the more room you have for spirit to flow. We have watched our lives just open up where we're like holding on in this river of spirit flowing through our lives, not knowing where it's taking us. But here we are in this position, had no idea we were heading this direction. But things are just rocketing through our lives, blessings upon blessings, that we now get to travel all over the world together, potentially in the United States so far, helping Unity Ministries. What could be more awesome than that? Amazing blessings that have come into our life because we've been willing to say, we want to share with the rest of the world. We don't need so much. We're willing to make, God forbid, some sacrifices. Whoa, that's not a fun word. Well, another incredible, amazing, beautiful mind, the co-founder of the Unity Movement, Myrtle Fillmore, said, true prosperity is not making money or putting out goods or developing property. It is determining what our souls require in order to cause them to unfold more of God. You know, it's the most boring question on the planet. What is the meaning of life? Is there any more boring question than that? The answer is right there, to unfold more of God. Our founders knew it. They said it. Are we doing it? Well, I think Myrtle's pretty awesome. I've chosen to align my life with the things she says because she seemed to get it. Charles seemed to get it. We've got these amazing tools in Unity. It's just putting them into practice. And that is the truth as I experience it. We're going to take some time for some meditation. Talk about practice. Down to the heart, the feeling, the experiencing, and the stillness that comes with it. With each breath, we feel the intention dropping from the head, down the back of the neck, settling at the heart. We recognize in this very moment, at this exact time, we don't have very much. We have a chair, we have a cool room,
and we have each other. And there's a possibility that in this moment we could find more joy than we've had all the week previous to this. By simply becoming still, by slowing down, and remembering what truly matters, which is our connection. How much time are we taking to authentically connect, not just with each other, but with the divinity we call God, that sits outside of us, sits beside us, and expresses as us. At any point in time, we've been blessed with the ability to take a breath, to slow down, and to choose to connect instead of react. No matter the narrative that the world is throwing at us at any given time, we have an opportunity to slow down, to breathe, and choose to connect instead of react. Because it is in those moments that we find what truly matters. We find our focus, we find our priority, we find our direction. And we recognize that there's a reason it's called the still, small voice. Spirit doesn't need to be bombastic, trying to force us in a direction, trying to yell at us when we're off course. It just sits there and says, when you're ready, I'm here. When you have the courage enough to slow down and be quiet long enough, I'm here. So now we take an opportunity to do just that. Slow down, to be still, and simply listen. What a blessing it is that we found each other. We found unity. And we're finding our way. So we go forth now from this time together with a greater sense of our purpose and a stillness that we'll bring with us through the rest of this week that allows us to slow down and observe life more as one who is a loved member of this God family as opposed to a cog in the machine. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Shad Groverland. I know we all were inspired by that, contemplating happiness and what it takes to feel truly happy, and contemplating the presence of God within you in your life. We are very grateful for your presence here today, this weekend. Beautiful. We now have our prosperity practice, and I'd like you to begin by contemplating the ways that prosperity has manifested into your life. The myriad ways that we have been blessed with